It's a great question. And I actually have an article in an interview with me in GQ magazine coming out very soon, where I'm talking a lot about how I am worried. Like I legitimately am worried about the way that society is going and how people are becoming more and more hooked on social media. Now it's AI, everyone's talking to ChatGPT all the time and asking ChatGPT everything, which is terrible for the environment. Let's remember that. But like it's like outsourcing your own intelligence and real life connection to tech, to AI. And what that does is that when you spend your time talking to AI or talking to ChatGPT, whatever, you're atrophying your own social skills because you can bet, and there's a lot of studies to show that AI is not going to fight you. It's not going to argue with you.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to our platform. This is Option 4 Podcast. I am Andrew. I'm always joined by the second half of the show. GQ Nestor, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. What it do? What it do?
Right, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a special treat for you today, right? We know the holidays is coming up. First off, Thanksgiving, followed with a little bit of Christmas, and you got the New Year celebration. And this is a time of the year where I would assume or I believe that, you're trying to be booed up. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to spend the holidays alone if you're not in a relationship. Or maybe some people may, do the throuple thing and want to add to the relationship. But I feel like this is a good time to get some expert advice on what to look for and when it comes to compatibility and what your goals should be. Should you just jump into something without knowing all the details and facts? But we got a guest who has been on the show before, um, and I believe she has some wonderful insight. So I had to invite her back. But ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the show, Miss Katarina. How you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm back to back. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Where are you at in the world today? I mean, you travel so much. I don't know where you are now. Where are we? Where Paris?
I am in Vancouver, so I think on the same time zone. I'm in Vancouver, in Canada, so a
Oh,
little
okay.
bit north of you.
Oh, okay. Hey, did you go catch any of the World Series games? What? And what?
I didn't. It's really terrible with my sports and the No, I didn't. It is terrible. I should have.
All right.
I think my husband was saying it. My husband was packing it for me.
Okay, okay. So how's life been? How you been?
I've been good. Yeah, I've been really busy. The business has been growing, which is amazing, refining my work. I ran my first retreat, which was really exciting. And now I'm planning my second one for the spring. And yeah, I'm just doubling down and helping people, married, single, engaged, the whole spectrum.
I mean, I know you deal with various situations. What would you say is a common problem right now? If you had to pinpoint, something that you hear from whether they're married or single, what's the main one of the main issues that you're coming across right now?
Yeah. One of the main issues, and probably the biggest issue that I'm running into, is people who are married or engaged and they are not sure that they're with the right partner. And obviously, the holidays are here, the New Year is approaching, and there's a real sense of what am I doing? Am I wasting my time? Am I investing into the wrong relationship? How do I even make the right decision at this point? Because I've been in this relationship for so long and I don't know if I'm even thinking straight. I don't know if I'm self sabotaging, like help. That's one of the biggest things I hear. Also, the second biggest thing that I come across is people who are single in their 30s and really fed up of being single in their 30s. There's a lot of frustration, like a lot of frustration out there, and a real sense of like, I hate doing that. I'm not having any luck with this. I want to give up. I don't want to give up. I don't want to be alone. Like this sucks. Like everything sucks. Kind of energy.
Everything sucks.
You know.
All right. So what is it? And
I think
that's really important that you say that. Some people are wondering like if they're wasting their time. Get my observation is we grow so much. You know what I'm saying? Things change. What you like today may not be what you like tomorrow, right? So, but that's not a necessarily a telltale sign to where you should give up on something. So what are you recommending? Are you recommending that they try something new? Like what is it? Because a new car isn't going to be a new car. You know what I'm saying? 5 years down the road till you. So what can you do to still value that automobile? And I'm not referring to anybody as automobile. Just a hypothetical way to look at things.
Yeah, I mean, there's this kind of funny idea, right, that think about it. Humans change. I mean, our whole self change every 7 years. And throughout a person's lifetime, they're going to become so different. And you're going to evolve and you're going to mature and you're going to become wiser and you're going to heal and you're going to just become a different person, right? As your confidence grows. So people become more confident like with their later years. And if you're in a long-term relationship, you go through these natural evolutions, these natural kind of cycle from the honeymoon phase to the power struggle phase, the bliss phase. There are different phases. And each phase with this partner is evolving and you're evolving demands a new set of skills. And it demands a whole new way of showing up in your relationship, right? Like, I don't know how I'm going to be showing up in my 50s with my husband in his 50s after he's run a business for 20 years. I run a business. Like, I didn't know how it was going to be. It was going to be different people. And so there's this argument that, and I love this idea that if you want range and variety and you get bored of the same, you get bored of the old, then you should be in a long-term relationship because you're never going to get the same. You're never going to get old if you're constantly attuning to the changes in your partner and the changes in your space, right? Because it's always changing, right? It's always evolving, really. I mean, even if you have kids and you're with the kids and then grow up and then it's enough, like there are changes that happen where if you keep leaving your partner and jumping from new relationship to new relationship to new relationship, chasing new, you're kind of getting the same. You're getting the same adrenaline of chemistry and the first date and the first time you have sex and like when you do the dance and blah, 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 blah. It's like the same cycle. And then you exit at the same point. And yeah, it's a different person, but you're in the same pattern, right? As opposed to having to dig deep and actually grow with someone. So I really love that idea. It's kind of reframe. And what I would say to people when they're unsure about, do I stay or do I go? In my experience, it is often quite rarely about the other person. It can be. It absolutely can be that you are with the wrong person and maybe you met them when you were in your 20s and now you've grown and you've evolved, you've changed. You've actually outbreak. Sure. Very often, though, it is because we are on some level blocked internally with our own fears of intimacy, with our own fears of quote unquote boredom and stability. And so we start to self-sabotage the longer in a relationship that we are. And I see that specifically when people have been with someone for like 5 years or less. That we kind of begin to get afraid of, well, what does this mean? Do I have to commit now? This is a real commitment. I'm not going to be with this person, the only person for the rest of my life. And these subconscious fears come up. I talked about subconscious blocks in our last recording. It's the same thing. The subconscious blocks come up and really sabotage our relationship. So the most important thing if you're having doubt is to get really clear, where am I contributing to this problem with my own perception, with my own baggage, with my own stuff? How am I seeing my partner perhaps not accurately? And how am I maybe not even seeing the relationship accurately? Through no fault of your own. We all do it, we all project. We will bring our past to our present. If just the problem is when your past comes to the present that you don't even see the present clearly and you're basing your feelings based on what happened historically. And all of this is subconscious, which is why it can feel so difficult to try to make a decision. So that's when you need to get that professional help to help you see what's going on subconsciously. That's one thing. And then the final thing I'll say is that a lot of the time when we feel really kind of bored with our partner or like unhappy or again debating do I stay or do I go, like I said, it's not about the partner, it's about ourselves and more about how are we actually fulfilling our own needs at that point in time. Because I see this time and time again with people in their 40s and 50s they spent their life raising kids, focusing on their business. They haven't really focused on their marriage because the kids took precedence. And now they've woken up in their 40s and 50s and they're like, I didn't know who I am. I didn't know what I wanted anymore. I didn't know what I need anymore. And so guess what? This new, hot person walks down the road and it's like a new Lamborghini and they're like, oh, I want that. Well, maybe you don't actually want that. You think you want that. What you probably need is something very different. So we need to get clear on what you actually need because you've lost yourself. And that's when people get that midlife crisis. So all of these different things are things I fall for a lot, like pretty much every day. Relationships are complex.
Now, when you say like self-sabotage and stuff like that, because normally, I guess, the commitment, right, the big C word, does commitment actually mean marriage? Do you agree with that? Or can we just live together and spend our lives together without the holy matrimony and all that, all the legality behind marriage? Can we just be together? Is that even possible?
Yeah, of course it's possible. You absolutely don't have to get married at all to be committed. At all. It really depends on what does marriage mean to you and what do you think that being married is going to give you. Candidly, my husband and I got married for visa purposes. We were engaged and we knew we wanted to be together irrespective. So when we look at the actual data of what does the marriage give us? Well, it helps with tax benefits and it helps with visas because we're an international couple. He's going to get his Barbados passport and we have like a whole range of passports between all of us, which is great. We can travel and move anywhere. I love that freedom. Outside of that, there's not really any benefit. In Canada, and I know in other countries as well, you have common law. So if you live together, you pretty much have very similar legal protections to if you're married. Your assets are split if you separate and all these different things. So in many ways, the marriage is kind of irrelevant. The bigger question is, what does it signify to you and for what purpose are you doing it? And it's really about, I want to have a big party and bring my friends together and celebrate our love. You can do that without getting married. You can have a big party every year. It's a lot of work, but you can do it.
Sure.
Right? You just want to be on the same page with each other.
So I have a question. So we were having this discussion earlier today, but is it easy to say that maybe the majority of the relationships that do fail has a lot to do with mostly the woman having friends, having girlfriends? Sometimes they're single, sometimes they're married, but either way, it's a emotional roller coaster, right? Where sometimes that advice maybe not be the best advice, especially because they don't know the deep story. Is it easy to say that?
Yeah, I don't know if that's the reason why most relationships fail, but I will say that a rule of thumb, and I learned this the hard way, a rule of thumb I give my clients is don't ask for advice on your relationship from your friends or family because they're not qualified professionals. They don't know what they're talking about. They're not psychologists. I mean, maybe they are. And even if they are, they're going to have their own bias because there's no mutual contract between the two of you. There's no ethical framework between the two of you. And they're going to have their own agenda, whether that is agenda to quote unquote protect you and they think that they know better than you, which they probably don't. So they're protecting that assumption. Or they want you to be single, or they want you to be married. They're going to have their own bias. And so, especially with family. Family wants us to be typically happy, right? But what a family member thinks is going to make us happy might be very difficult to actually make us happy. And so when we start sharing the intimate details of our relationships with friends or family, we really run the risk of bringing in outside opinions, which, if we're mutual, has an agenda. That agenda is probably going to be a little bit self-centered because people are self-centered. It's just the human condition. And it could very well lead you astray. So what's far more effective is by all means get support, get advice, but get it from a professional. Get it from a neutral third party who actually has your best interest because they want you to win, because you're paying them to help you win. And get advice from them. And then with their advice, learn to trust yourself. Learn to get to a place where you are so clear in your gut instinct, in your inner voice, in your own clarity of vision. You don't need to ask anyone. You just know intuitively what to do. That's what you want to get to. And the more that you outsource that wisdom to friends and family and co-workers and blah, 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 the less you actually cultivate it with them. So that should be a priority.
Why do you think is okay? So why do you think is the main purpose of them sharing this information with friends and family? Is it validation of their feelings, or what do you think psychologically the behind the scenes intention of doing such thing?
It could be validation. More often than not, I would argue that it's sheer confusion and not knowing what to think, not knowing what to feel, not knowing what to do because you are so overwhelmed and probably because you are so insecure within your own attachment to yourself and your own intuition that you can't even hear it. And so you try to get answers and certainty by asking other people who you deem to be intelligent or wise that will have better viewpoints than you. So really it's coming from a place of insecurity and typically it's looking for certainty, right? Potentially validation and affirmation, especially if the question being asked is, do you think we should stay together? Do you think I should be X, Y, and Z? The agenda is always going to be an insecure agenda. Because if you're really secure in yourself, you don't need to ask other people their opinion to really care about their opinion. Your opinion is more than enough for you because people lie. Why would you ask?
Yeah, I think that's a very high cost to pay. Like, have you guys noticed like how embarrassing that is? Like, you love someone and then you hate them for like 24, 48 hours, and then later on you're like, well, he's kind of cool, or she's kind of cool. Like, like there's very difference of opinions within 24 hours, and that's the embarrassing part. I think, I learned my lesson. Like, nah, I think I'm gonna keep both things in private for sure.
Well, no, I think
Yeah.
I think that's also why you say like if you are, it doesn't necessarily have to be a heated argument with a significant other, but also along the lines where an argument or anything with anyone, where you just take a step back, walk away, collect your thoughts, collect yourself, and come back and reassess and then reapproach the conversation. But I think sometimes like I think we want to be heard really, really bad sometimes. So where we reach out to people, like you say, it's not that they don't have our best interest, but if they're not, like, I'm not going to talk to a mechanic about heart surgery. You know what I'm saying? That's not their lane. That's not what they do. So they can't give me the advice that I need. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's family. Family's like always going to have your back. They're like, how stupid are you? Yeah. You're going to go back with her. You're going to go back with him. Like, whatever they think is going to make you happy is normally, or what you want to hear is normally what they're going to say. You know what I'm saying? But
now let me ask you this. Like, now, I think the roles have changed a lot, especially like, not necessarily, I'm not saying that I'm putting things in a box where a man has a specific role and a woman has a specific role, but we kind of do in a sense, right? But do you think that there's a lack of a lot of, I want to say couples not playing their role appropriately?
In older school couples, sure. If you look at the trajectory of what makes the healthiest and happiest relationship that actually last and has a lot of safety and stability and freedom and all the good things that we want, it's going to boil down to having a growth mindset and to both of you being devoted to each other and being willing to lean in and grow. And so when we think about the role, what does that look like? That means that you're going to be flexible. That means that you're going to be able to read the room and see what is required of me and what is required of the relationship. And so if that means that the woman, for example, has landed an incredible job where she's going to be a higher paid person and she's going to be the breadwinner, and someone else needs to pick up the slack at home, then you lean in and do that. It might not be forever, but you need to do that if that's what you both want, of course, and vice versa. But the fluidity, because nothing stays the same. As what we were talking about earlier, relationships change, people change, I would advise change. I was coaching a guy earlier today, him and his wife. They started out, they were both very ambitious, they were both entrepreneurs, and they built companies and they made a lot of money. They never wanted to have kids. And then she got accidentally pregnant and they had a child and they were all staying. She became a new mum and now she's still staying home for a long time. He picked up the pace with work and he was the provider. And then after a while, she said she wanted to go back to work and now they come back to a more balanced role because that's what they both want. That's what the relationship needs to stay healthy and what they both want from each other because they love each other and they want to meet each other where they're at. So it's just fluidity and flexibility, recognizing that we don't really live in an age with, salaries where you can have one single person working a Monday 9 to 5. It doesn't really exist anymore. Not many people can work one salary and fund a whole family with kids and a wife and a home. That doesn't really exist. The cost of living is way too high. I think we talked about it in our last episode, right?
Right.
There's just a lot of economic disenfranchisement right now. And so you've got to be a team. And a team is going to be communicative and flexible and be scanning the room and saying like, okay, what do I need to do to optimize the team? What do I need to do to help us win? And if that means feeding the baby and being home to play with the baby while she goes off and wins, great. If that means making dinner so that she can have an evening of chilling and then you can actually be intimate together and actually like have sex, great.
You know, I guess people in America versus Europe and other countries, the upbringing is different. So that's why relationships tend to have a different flow versus how they have it in other countries versus, the Western side.
It's a question, is that why relationships have different flavor and differently?
Well, what I'm saying is like, okay, you've heard of the term passport bros, right? Where, a lot of men tend to go to another country to find the wife and everything because they're tired of America, American women. So do you think that it has a lot to do with the cultural, the upbringing, all these things that, we're back?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So do you think that it has a lot to do with that as far as like the culture?
It's funny that you say that. Literally, my husband and I both got passports from each other, but it was like Canada and UK and Europe, like great passports. He's from Canada and I grew up in London. There's a lot of people who are living in countries that they don't want to be living in. And absolutely getting a passport is one way out of there. It doesn't help, I would say, that if you go on Google and you type in something like Russian bride, you're going to get it right. So it's definitely a problem that is being perpetuated by the people who are on the purchasing end. I wouldn't put the blame on, the people who are out in different countries who are trying to get a passport because frankly, America's done a very good business with marketing itself as the country of dreams and opportunities and freedom and, an amazing salary, all wonderful things. So of course people are going to try and get out of their own country, which is probably been pillaged and isn't a great place to live, right? And if they know that they can get RussianBrides.com, then they're going to sign up. Makes sense.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, but I feel like I want to go find myself my soulmate wherever there's no Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? Like wherever there's no Wi-Fi, no type of social media, they go to an internet cafe to check their Facebook. They're not on Instagram, and just because think about it, like all the distractions, like you're never gonna be able to get like stick to a path. Let's just stay here. Don't look outside. It's okay. You're having fun here. I think it's
what you need to find someone with really good boundaries around technology. They do exist. I promise you, there are people out there.
Did you say
I see them in my.
Did you say with lack of technology? Did you say lack of technology?
No, boundaries with technology.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I actually know a lot of people who are just not on social media. They're millennials, right? They're kind of in their 30s, but they're also disgusted by what social media has done, and they don't want to be on the app. And they don't want to social media. They want to have like in-person, real-life experience. I know with my husband, we have some pretty strict rules on, like, no phone after a certain amount of time. Obviously, we might go on there every now and then, but it's like we're not glued to technology. We're trying to be present in the moment,
right,
and not disappearing into the outside world, algorithms and crap like that.
No, that makes perfect sense.
And
But how? Okay. Well, I mean, because communication is all on these devices now, right? And like you said, you want to be present and you want to be in the moment. But like, I think don't your husband doesn't your husband run his own business, right? So he has
yeah,
like strict rules, like he cuts like at 6 o'clock, like no more work. And actually, speaking about that, do you guys talk about y'all work? Do you guys talk about your
which is
work?
what
Yeah. Do you guys like discuss work like in the home, or do y'all leave work at
oh
work?
I think that's like our biggest um that's what we both do because we talk about work a lot. And the new rule that we're trying to implement, like I'm talking about work so much. Because, my work is really intense. I will have a day where I see 9 or 10 clients. Everyone's got different relationship challenges. Some are married, some are single. I've got a lot of drama. And it's quite emotional for me because, I'm going on a roller coaster with them. And then by the end of the day, I've not really got to talk about how I feel. So guess who gets to listen to that?
All the good tea, all the good tea. And- but, no,
It's not like,
but no,
we're cool and honest.
I think it would be cool to hear his perspective on that because like I know like sometimes like a guy can be. I don't want to generalize and say we're all like that, but we're very like straightforward and to the point. It's like, honey, how was your day? It was cool. Like that's it, and that's it. We don't have to go into the office politics or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But you ask your significant other, your girl, your boo, whatever, and it's just like, let me tell you about Sherry. Sherry came in there with an attitude, and it's just like, oh, I didn't really ask for all of that. And I just want to know how your day was.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
now, do you think that the way we're going is it going to get worse, or there might be some sort of silver lining where maybe people will start connecting again and not using all these different platforms to try to find, you know, the boo thing?
Yeah. It's a great question. And I actually have an article in an interview with me in GT magazine coming out very soon where I'm talking a lot about how I am worried. Like I legitimately am worried about the way that society is going and how people are becoming more and more hooked on social media. Now it's AI, everyone's talking to ChatGPT all the time and asking ChatGPT everything, which is terrible for the environment. Let's remember that. But like it's like outsourcing your own intelligence and real life connection to tech, to AI. And what that does is that when you spend your time talking to AI or talking to ChatGPT, whatever, you're atrophying your own social skills because you can bet, and there's a lot of studies to show that AI is not going to fight you. It's not going to argue with you. It's not going to tell you that your opinion's wrong. It's going to just nod, like, great idea, great idea. Great. It's always going to be very appealing. And so you can come out with some absolute garbage and talk to AI and pretend it's your friend and get all this advice. And you can go on the app and you can, pump out content on social media and get all the likes. And you're living in a delusional bubble. You're literally living in a delusional bubble. And you have not developed any real capacity to have healthy conflict, to navigate tension, to navigate disagreement, to navigate repair with a person, to navigate vulnerabilities. If you haven't learned any of these skills because you're alone in your room just talking to a chatbot and seeing a post on social media, and this is happening more and more and more. And so I do find it really worrying. And then the other thing to add as well is that if you actually look at a lot of the younger generation, a lot of them, I'm not not saying go get drunk, but a lot of them aren't actually drinking and socializing the same way
Oh, wait a
that
minute.
older generations have, right? They're not drinking, and they're not having sex in the same kind of cadence. And from my perspective, this very like health conscious, almost puritanical approach that we have towards our bodies, where everyone's running trackers and everyone's analyzing every bit of data on them, it means that people aren't taking risks. They're not letting loose. and they're not actually letting themselves be human beings, because it's when we are taking risks through having a few drinks at a party and talking to people and making some mistakes and saying something silly, or talking to someone you wouldn't normally talk to, but like letting your hair down a little bit. That's where you actually start to build your own confidence. Or you know what, I can handle it. I can actually handle putting myself out there. I can actually connect with people who are maybe not typically my people. It makes you more of a social butterfly, which gives you the social skills of intimacy, which are actually what you need to be a high functioning adult later in life. And I really do get worried about this kind of increasingly isolationist, techie world that we live in, where like no one's going out, no one's having fun. Having fun is what you like posting on TikTok all day. I don't get it.
I
For me, having fun is like getting drunk in a park. Sorry.
At the park, hell yeah.
hey, but I think that.
No, I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear? Okay. Okay. So I think sometimes these new generations are taking a little bit more stupid risks, because if you really think about it, I don't know if you've heard, but there's like a service where they can do like hire a professional cuddler. That's creepy as fuck. You know what I mean? Like you're just gonna pay somebody to cuddle with you, like, and it's crazy because they're like they train them. They're professionals. They're professional cuddlers. Like, oh hell no, that no, that's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
But I think
That's
that
a horrible risk.
I think that shows a big problem, right? You would rather hire somebody to come cuddle with you when that person, you probably have someone in your friend group who would do that. Like, but we're not communicating. You know what I'm saying? We're holding everything. We're so private, and we don't want to seem so vulnerable. So we're like, like those days where you come home and you had a hard day at work, and you just be like, honey, can you just give me a hug? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's all it takes. Just like, just hold me. You know what I'm saying? I don't need you to say anything. Just hold me. But instead of just doing that, I'm gonna go on the app and let me get Teddy. Hey Teddy, you gonna come through? All right, yeah. All right, I'll be there in like 5 minutes. I'll hold you tight for about 30 minutes, and
I
that's
booked my
about 80
5
bucks.
o'clock cuddle.
Yeah, like instead of just communicating what we need, and I think a big reason on why we struggle with communication is because of these devices. We hide behind them. You know what I'm saying? And it's really,
Yeah.
and I don't even want to say it's just the young, the younger generation of people. I think it's us too, those mature adults that you have.
Probably the weirdos though. I don't think it's like the combat, because there is like a generation that's old that they're kind of weird and they just never got better. You know what I mean? And I just think that those are kind of like shit. They're just one problem away to start doing some crazy shit. And I think that's kind of the part where you're just like, I don't know. Because I guarantee you that same weird dude is probably applying for that cuddle job. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's
The problem, right? That's the problem. You're right. It's creepy. And exactly to your point, like cuddling is, I don't know, go have a few drinks and go cuddle some friends. I don't know, like just go out there and actually put yourself out there with real people. I have a client, to your point, I have a client who is so deprived of intimacy with women. And, he's a younger guy, younger than most of my clients. And he's paying me monthly to basically, like, yes, I'm coaching him and I'm helping him, find love. But what I'm realizing increasingly, it's been about 4 months now, I'm realizing I don't think he's getting better. I don't think he's actually learning anything. I don't think he wants to learn anything.
I mean, it's
I
not
think
funny about me.
yeah, I think he's just paying, because I talked to his therapist. I think he's just paying me to like spend time with me. And I think he's just paying me so that we can talk and he gets attention from female, me, and he gets to like share, say whatever, and I'm there. And because he's paying me, I'm gonna be more polite and more friendly to him than a random woman in the street who would probably punch him in the face. True, with some of the things he said.
Oh,
And
he's
it
one of
wasn't
those.
like, yeah, I mean, it wasn't like, this is actually really unhealthy. I need to fire this guy because this isn't going to help him in the long run,
How
right?
long?
If you're just paying with, yeah,
How long has it been?
about 4 months.
Okay.
damn. And what do you think what do you think is his and we don't gotta, talk about the call the dude out, but like in your opinion, what do you think is his gap where he hasn't crossed that bridge to be able to be
Yeah,
low key normal?
I see a lot of this with guys. I see a lot of this with guys, younger guys. And they will say that it's ever since the Me Too movement, they are afraid of
Mm.
kind of hitting on, quote unquote, women, girls. I see that from multiple different guys. And it's especially younger guys. I don't hear this from like older people. Older people, generally, like if you're kind of 35 plus, I don't hear it from people. It's like 35 and under. And I get it. I do get it. Like what happened there was, scary and a lot of stuff was coming out and blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, it can be scary. I get that. And at the same time, the media, I would argue, and generally the kind of the rhetoric around it has turned it into this massive witch hunt where every single woman that I work with, every single girl that I work with, everything that I know, everything I've studied, boils down to just be a decent human being. Like just be a decent human being. That's it. You can still go hit on women. You can still flirt. You can still get laid. You can still get drunk and have fun. Just be a decent human being. Like it's not really that complex. If you do something and she doesn't like it, apologize and don't do it again. It's really not that hard. It's really not that hard. Like, oh, you lean in to kiss her, or like you touch her and she doesn't like it. Okay, and do it again. And it's on her to communicate that. It's on her to communicate that, right? So it's a two-way street. But what I do see is, yeah, there are some guys, not many, but there are some guys who are so crippled with fear that they almost don't even want to try, and they would rather just be alone or not put themselves out there, or pay coaches and therapists and just talk to them, which I find really, really sad, really sad.
Do you think it's more also if
Oh,
do you can are we good now? Can
Yeah.
you hear me?
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
think it's also, like, because a guy will say real quick when he meets a toxic girl, she got daddy issues. Are you finding that these guys have mommy issues?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
100%. It has to be. Yeah.
But I mean,
No,
but
I see it a lot.
you never really hear that though. At least not I've never heard like
Yeah,
of course you get the mama's boy type thing, you know what I'm saying? And like oh
yeah, yeah,
his mom is his best friend and they no, I'm talking about like the absence of the father or the lack of support from the father has like a negative impact on the female. You know what I'm saying? And it can be the same with a guy. It's just that's not really a conversation that I really hear too often.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
It,
I honestly think that that situation it's an easy fix. I mean, maybe they need probably like have some sort of like community, like a bunch of like, everybody needs a dude that, is fucking crazy and is gonna get him out of his shell or, do something, embarrass him in public, just something that, as guys do, it's a camaraderie
yeah,
that basically he needs that. Because come on, but you gonna blame it on the Me Too movement, really? Like when there's some girls out there that are like freakier than the average dude, and you're just like, oh shit, you want to get your hair pulled, like oh shit, like pull it harder, like you know what I mean? Like there's so much sexual energy, especially coming from some females, and here you are scared to touch her hand. That's kind of stupid,
yeah, yeah. The funny thing is, with all of these guys who are terrified of the Me Too movement, and a lot of them, I hear it's like, I want to go back to the good old days where girls were like more sexual and, they wanted the sexual attention. And I'm like, there are plenty of women out there who want that. But they're probably going to be sexually liberated, very like, progressive,
Right.
open-minded women who might be feminist. Like,
Oh, because I
that's
was
the
about to
irony.
say, yeah, I get what you're saying. So you're saying that like you're gonna find that woman, but she's not gonna be traditional in the sense that you want her to be. You know what I'm saying? She's not
No.
gonna be, and she's gonna be a free little bird.
Those are fun.
Yeah.
That sounds like very fun.
But not if you're looking for a relationship and you're trying to settle down.
Can you mold her? That's the question.
But let's you can be a free little bird and be sexually open and still have a healthy relationship. You might not get married, maybe, but you can still be in a committed monogamous dynamic, right? You absolutely can.
So we can mold her.
Through the- Huh?
We can mold her. The free little bird. We
Yeah,
can.
sure.
I don't think can't nobody be mowed. That's the problem, dude. We always trying to fix somebody and then we get upset. Like, like why?
No, but it's the point of development exclusive, right? You can be, I mean, I would hope that most people who are in a committed long-term relationship are feeling sexually liberated within it,
I think he probably just
right?
scared. He just scared. Like, I mean, I think that's like, I mean, that is a point. I get the whole Me Too angle, but I think rejection is real. Nobody likes to be rejected, you know, especially when
Yeah.
you're punching up.
But with two shots, you're not gonna feel it.
No,
Right?
exactly. Exactly.
You're good.
The liquid courage is real. That is a thing.
Yeah.
I just think he just needs to get out there. Let's root for this guy. Let's get him on the show.
We should.
Let's get him some encouragement. Like, you just got to put yourself out there, dude. Like, there comes a point in time to where it's almost like, in some ways, you got to think of. I don't know, man. This is gonna sound wrong, so forgive me, guys. But you got to think of it as like sales, right?
Yeah.
I'm selling a product. Everybody is not gonna want my product. I'm gonna get more no's than I get yeses. But those yeses are going to count. They're still yeses. They still have a meaning to what I'm trying to aspire to acquire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I that's how
For
you got to
sure.
look at it. You can't.
Hope you cut out again.
You don't want to look at it as if like you're a door-to-door salesman, right? With this wonderful
Yeah.
vacuum cleaner that everybody is supposed to need. But like I said, some people are going to open the door and they're going to be like, "Oh my God, how much is it? Sign me up right now." And some people are going to be like, "Get the hell out of my face." And that's just how you
Yeah.
got to look at it. Everybody's not going to like you. Everybody's not going to be for you. But the ones that are, they are. And not take advantage of those situations, but cherish
Yeah.
those moments. Be present. And then that builds confidence.
As a matter of fact, when they do like you, it starts to kind of get scary. Like, hey, wait, what's the catch here? You know, especially for men.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I think that sometimes it's like, wait, you're like a little unicorn. I don't know, like you're too good to be true. Like, what's the catch? You know, and sometimes it's that same frustration that men have, women have the same thing. That's the crazy part, that we're just
Yeah.
similar paths, and for some reason we can't intersect because
Yeah.
of the fear of rejection, or fear of not getting it right the first time. And you're probably never going to get it right, but the whole point is
Totally.
is creating some sort of family, and create something, because maybe you'll get divorced 2 or 3 times, but then maybe maybe at 4 times the charm. I mean, I wouldn't say that that's the model I want to
No,
go, but
definitely not.
yeah, that's crazy.
Mhm.
Now let's get back
Cool.
to let's get back to these seasonal relationships, right? Is that Can we have these temporary, like with it being the holidays and stuff like that? Is that Would you encourage that? You know what I'm saying?
Having a very connection over the holidays.
Yes.
Like a fake.
Well, I mean, you just know it's not gonna last.
Okay.
You go into it like, hey, just know from Thanksgiving to Christmas it's it. But once the new year hit, we
Okay.
just you know what I'm saying? Would you encourage that type of arrangement?
I wouldn't encourage it because you're still outsourcing the discomfort that you feel, right? What is loneliness? It's just a feeling inside of the body because you haven't integrated all parts of yourself and come home to yourself. You're kind of rejecting yourself. That's what loneliness comes from. There's a lot of studies out there to show that humans are actually perfectly fine being alone when they are healed, integrated, healthy within themselves, and securely attached. So if you were running around feeling lonely around Thanksgiving and Christmas thinking, oh my goodness, I need to bring someone else into my life to kind of fill this void to make me feel better, then you're just skipping the work. You're outsourcing. You're getting a temporary band-aid fix, which by all means you can get a band-aid fix, but it's not going to fix your problem. It's going to make you feel a little better. It's like a heroin addict trying to recover and taking a little bit of heroin. You're like, oh, it makes me feel better for a little bit. But long term, it's not going to help, right? And I see this all the time with people who just keep jumping from relationship to relationship to relationship, and they never actually stop. and confront and admit those feelings of discomfort, that loneliness, that ache within themselves. And they don't get the chance to actually reparent themselves, come home to themselves, integrate these really abandoned parts and be with them, which the holidays are a perfect time to do because it is more vulnerable. It is kind of more quote unquote lonely. So if you can learn to be okay with yourself and to cocoon yourself in self love and self care and all your favorite food and really make yourself have the most wonderful holiday season with yourself, then you are doing that inner work that you need to do to feel amazing in yourself next year. That's the real work. Whereas if you're jumping into bed with someone, bringing someone home, whatever, you're just delaying what you're going to have to do at some point anyway. And you're going to be older when you get around to doing it. So you might as well do it sooner or later. It might my take.
Interesting. But what do you think about a lot of you could see, men and women hiding behind religion as a kind of like a shield to trying to be like, well, he needs to be, Adam's cousin or Eve's cousin for me to for me to get serious with them, and they bring this I want to say this defense mechanism, like you see a lot of men and women using religion as a way to I'm a person of God. If you're not Adam's cousin or Eve's cousin, I don't want to deal with you. But then next to they're not, I want to say they weren't the greatest angels if God was to choose them. But why do you think they do that? Why is that a trend nowadays?
It's hiding. To your point, it's hiding behind a mask, right? For sure, there are some people who, I would argue they're the minority who are so religious that they genuinely believe that they can only be with a certain type of person and whatnot. Typically, from my perspective, that's rooted in fear, right? It's kind of like I need certainty and I need to feel safe. And therefore, if I have this box that I put people in and I believe that they adapt to this box, that I'm going to be safe with them, it's coming from a fearless place where I don't trust that they can be a good person irrespective of what it is. Obviously, the values might be a real thing here. That's what I'm saying. For some people, sure, religion can be a genuine thing if it's within the values. But when it's coming from like we said it's like a recent trend, it's probably fear. It's probably hiding behind. I want to put the bench like the the thing to jump over up here, and I'm going to make people have to jump really high to get over the barrier to me. And that barrier to me, well, they have to be religious and they have to be 6'3" and they have to be X, Y, and Z. And only then can they get through to me. It's coming from a place. It's not.
It's not real. It's not real. What you're saying. Yeah.
I wouldn't say.
I mean, but another way to look at it is like, all right, life is conflict in itself, right? So you leave, your peace could be your home, right? Your home, your surroundings, wherever you find comfort. When I walk out the door into the world, into society, there's conflict. And when I come home, I don't want to deal and argue. So like the way I would see it as when it comes to religion thing, like that's not really too bothersome to me. Like, hey, well, if you're not my religion, then and you're not into like converting or doing anything, like then we don't need to go any further than that because I'm not trying to have this debate like forever. I don't want to change you. Like if there's something that you're willing to do or willing to look into, then let's look into it together. But like, dude, that's a big thing in the household. Like when you don't see eye to eye, we already don't see eye to eye on politics sometimes, right? Now we're talking about religion too. Like, dude, I'm not trying to fight with my significant other.
Yeah, this is the value piece. Like, of course, that you're allowed to have your religious values and you want to have your partner align with that. For sure, you're allowed to have that. You want your partner to be of a similar mindset, similar worldview. There's nothing wrong with that. I think your point was more, are people putting that up as like a barrier to entry where it's actually not grounded in true values? They don't really believe it. There's a difference between the two.
Yeah, I low key want an atheist. I'm religious, but you want one with no religion. No, and I just think that opposites attract, right? And I just feel like a lot of people put all these boundaries like they're the lottery. You know what I mean? And you're just like, bruh,
Yeah.
you're just a solid 6. Like, you know, like don't get ahead of yourself because I mean, I, in my opinion, I see that a lot of women are dating down, right? They're like becoming like men, right? We like to date, younger females, and now females are basically dating younger men, and that's kind of good luck with that because I just feel like as a man, I just feel like we don't mature till we're like 40. So you're basically getting yourself a kid. That's basically what you're doing, and then you're kind of shit out of luck.
But most women are good with kids.
Wow,
Well,
yeah.
like it's like that maternal feeling. Like we see it all the time, and he's not lying or exaggerating. That is really, really big right now. There are a lot of women out
Yeah.
there, late 30s, maybe early 40s, dating like 25 to 27-year-old guys. You know what I'm saying? Like their kids are almost their partner's age. You know what I'm saying? Or close to. There's not too much of a gap, but I think that comes to I think some women don't get mad at me, but some women they're fixer uppers. You know what I'm saying? They're fixer uppers. They want to help everybody, heal everybody, let me transform you. And that's just normally how I mean, if that didn't work with your first baby daddy, why do you think it's gonna work with someone new? You know what I'm saying? Like that's just not a right way
In,
to go at it.
Yeah.
in your opinion, what do you think is the root of that? The problem, the root of that problem?
Also being a fixer upper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great question. It's insecurity. So no one is born a fixer upper. You don't get people who are born on the planet and they're somehow fixer uppers and their whole role is to go around fixing other human beings. Like that's not a thing, right? Especially not when it comes to a relationship. When we have a dynamic where there's one person who's more of the parent and the fixer and the other person who's more of the child, the one who needs fixing, you don't have a healthy relationship. You don't have healthy intimacy. No one wants to have sex with their parent. No one feels attracted to their parent, right? So you develop this dynamic where one person is the more responsible one, the more useful one, maybe the one managing the stuff, maybe the one criticizing and telling off the other, the little kid. And the little kids start to get rebellious. They don't like it. They start to push back. Then maybe they cheat on them, or maybe they start to get a little bit more rebellious in their behavior. And then the relationship starts to break down. And it becomes a very horrible, resentful dynamic of angry, pissed off parents and resentful, rebellious child, right? I see that all the time in relationships, often the woman being the parent and the guy being kind of quote unquote the child. And where does it come from? Well, it comes from typically with the female, she doesn't have a strong enough balance of self, a strong enough attachment to herself, she's going to fully attached. And for her worthiness, her role in a relationship has to be one based on proving her worth, on proving that she has value, on proving that she is lovable because she's doing something, not worthy just by being. She has to do something. And that doing is typically like fixing and rescuing. And she would have learned that in childhood, right? And so she's proving her worth in the relationship by constantly overextending and doing things for him because she worries on a deep subconscious level that if she doesn't do that, he's not going to be attracted to her. She's not going to have any worth in the relationship, and he's going to drop her and leave her for someone else. And so it's kind of in a deep place of, I'm afraid of abandonment. I'm afraid that I'm not worthy. So I'm going to do all this stuff to overextend and try to raise this guy up. And in many ways, her doing all of this is, it might look like she's trying to save him and help him and fix him. She's really trying to fix herself. Because all of these behaviors of her trying to extend and help him is her trying to avoid her own feelings of being worthless, or her own feelings of not being good enough, or her own feelings of being abandoned. She's trying to avoid those feelings inside of her that she's probably had for her whole life by overcompensating and fixing someone else. So it's kind of like she's fixing him to fix herself. And for him, it's going to be a similar dynamic, but almost the opposite, right? Where he doesn't feel worthy, he doesn't feel good enough, he doesn't feel the same thing. He also has this fear of abandonment, but it shows up in different ways. It shows up through different behavioral patterns. And the two end up becoming a match because they feed each other. They feed each other in this kind of toxic dynamic where they're both getting off on just feeling kind of useful to each other, but it's obviously not very healthy. So for anyone who's in this dynamic, you want to change it because long term it doesn't work. It doesn't work. One of you will end up leaving.
Wow. I love the way you
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
can't hear you again.
That's good knowledge. We can tell you studied. Yeah, definitely. But hey, but this has been a wonderful conversation, and Katarina, we're gonna have to have you here in person one of these days. We're gonna have to put some quarters in the piggy bank, save up, and get you out here so we can do this live. But we definitely appreciate this conversation. But like I
Oh,
always do, we always open up the microphones to our guests and to our hosts to leave any parting words, anything you would like to share with our listeners and our viewers. We're men of good what they say, chivalry is not dead. So Katarina, we would like you to anything you would like to share with our listeners and before we sign off for today.
yeah. For anyone who's feeling lonely over the holidays, please know that you're not alone in being lonely over the holidays. A lot of people are. And so rather than trying to overcome that feeling of loneliness by trying to find a partner or jumping on the app or feeling really bad about yourself and then trying to hook up, whatever it might be, recognize that actually there's a whole load of people who are feeling quite alone. And see if you can find other people on a platonic friendship level who are also feeling this way. See if you can create a community, even if it's by getting together for a little dinner or something, whatever it might be, and learn to be with your own feelings of discomfort. Meaning, if a feeling comes up and it doesn't feel good, rather than picking up the phone and jumping on an app, see if you can spend even 30 seconds with that feeling. The more that you can build emotional tolerance to feeling bad, quote unquote, the more strong and resilient you're going to be, the more secure in yourself you're going to be, the more bulletproof you're going to be. And that place is going to leave you feeling more confident with a higher self esteem and really unstoppable. If you are feeling lonely at the holidays, it's like a great opportunity for you to actually practice building this muscle of, yeah, reaching out to friends and being vulnerable and creating connections, but also in getting comfortable with meeting your own feelings of loneliness and building space for them. But when you do that, you're actually coming home to yourself. And that's what the real healing is.
Great.
Awesome.
That's great. GQ Nesta.
Well, you heard it first. Stop renting those fake boyfriends for the holidays. Don't do it. Kind of creepy, you know. Um, this economy doesn't it isn't the right time to do such thing,
Yeah.
and just be real with yourself, like she said. So thank you so much. We definitely appreciate your insight. It's very refreshing to hear from a professional like yourself. So that's basically it.
Yeah. Once again, we thank you. I definitely enjoyed this our time today. And I always say, like we talked about it, like instead of like renting a cuddle bug, you know what I'm saying? Like communicate, open up. It's okay to be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? If a hug is what you need, I'm pretty sure there's someone in your close circle who will be that for you instead of you paying for it. But it's okay. All right. It's okay. But happy holidays, everybody. We see you guys next time. I'm Drew. We are Option for a Podcast. We are out. Peace.
encourage it because you're still outsourcing the discomfort that you feel, right? What is loneliness? It's just a feeling inside of the body because you haven't integrated all parts of yourself and come home to yourself. You're kind of rejecting yourself. That's what loneliness comes from. There's a lot of studies out there to show that humans are actually perfectly fine being alone when they are healed, integrated, healthy within themselves, and securely attached.